Hey guys, just give me one moment while I share this out. And mute that. I know, lovely to start out. Done? Done. Okay, now to start. So, hi guys, I'm Darth Mando, and the reason I'm not wearing the helmet or doing a live camera is, first of all, I have bad asthma. I've actually got disability parking because my asthma gets so bad, especially in winter. Um, so what ends up happening is I need a close parker. But with the helmet on, I have trouble breathing. I'm actually considering getting a second helmet to customize. First of all, to remove the visor so I can breathe easier, and then on top of that, I might custom it to look more like my icon rather than just the Mando helmet. I'm also probably going to custom it to be more to me. So that's just a little bit about me. Also, in case Rev and Shanny ever see this, or any of their followers follow this, or G-Man sees this, I want them to know I'm a nobody. I'm a complete nobody. I used to do live streams under different username, pretty much doing toy reviews and unboxings. Haven't done that in a long time. Things have changed. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, I'm also trying to raise money for a friend who is not in the best living situation. If you guys can hear me good. I'm using a webcam mic. If there's any issues, please let me know. My internet also sucks. Uh, and I apologize if I stutter. I personally battled depression and anxiety. My depression and anxiety are so bad that I'm actually on disability. It was not a choice. I worked myself pretty much into early retirement because I always put myself into the job. I ignored my health, and I had a breakdown, and yeah. But sometimes the words, I have this whole argument. I have this whole perfect speech and stuff in my head, and then it just typing and writing and speaking, it does not translate well. There's a kink in the line, pretty much. But yeah, if any of them are watching me, I have no real money. I get fuck all for money. And most of my money goes to my wife to help pay her because she pays for a lot of things because I make fuck all. And we're also helping a friend of mine. So if any of you watching this now or later, a friend of mine is not in the best of places. He doesn't buy his diabetic meds. I can't afford to just buy everything for him. I've bought him stuff just to help him. He helped me out at first, and now he's in a bad position, so I'm helping him out. And it's a very big mental drain and financial drain, but he's got no one else, and he's a friend, and he was there for me. So if anyone feels like donating, it is in the description. My Streamlabs, be greatly appreciated, but you're never forced, or I'm never obligated. I don't expect anything. I just put it out there just in case. But so now the big thing about why I made this stream and why I'm going live, it's because of Rev just realizing his Teespring was taken down. And I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I didn't see anyone else talking about it. I know I was the one who contacted them, and they responded back to me. And before I get into the whole why I did it, what I did, and when it happened, I don't support false flagging. I don't support randomly reporting people for no reason. When I report something, and I'm not a Karen who reports everything or anything. When I do something, there's a reason. And especially for me nowadays, I don't like talking to people. I don't like dealing with things, anxiety. So for me to have to go those extra steps these days, you really have to do something wrong. So I am still relatively new to this whole Shanny and Rev thing. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. But so yeah, sorry, I stutter a bit, and I'll be drinking lots of water because with all my meds, I get dry mouth. So I'm still relatively new to Rev and Shanny. It's only been a few months. I try to ignore her and ALR and Foodie Beauty. I don't like that they get attention. I wish they would just, people ignore them and they disappear, but unfortunately that's not the situation. I first heard of Shanny through Irate Alex. I actually stopped watching him for a while. Great channel. I recommend him. Can't recommend him enough. After he stopped doing his regular stuff, he started going more into that I noticed. And I just I don't like watching these people. I don't like giving them attention. I don't like any of this. So I stopped watching him, and I was like, I was on disability. I've got nothing else to do. So it's like I've watched everything on Disney that I wanted, everything on, I don't watch Netflix. I don't watch Amazon. So it's like I've got nothing else to watch. I just rewatching all the same stuff over and over again. So I gave his stuff a chance, and I started watching. I wasn't watching every video, and I wasn't paying the most attention, but I was giving it the light attention. What really got my interest to really focusing on them was the video where Rev threatened to kill himself, the kids, and Shanny, that he needed help, and she refused to let him go because they didn't have gas money. That's what kind of got me, this is something I should keep an eye out on. I know one person like me does nothing, although apparently I did do something. But I was like, I want to see where this goes, because this is just fucked up. How are these people being supported when they act like that? So I was watching, and then I got to the whole being evicted, and I was just like, and that's really got me watching more. Like at that point, I started watching more channels. I was pretty much just going through Alex's, and from there that led me to like Burnt Toast, Jules, Miss Parker, who then led me to people like Drag, who I just was watching earlier today, and it got me started there. And now I'm always, like, my wife's upset because I'm always watching a live stream, because usually when I watch a live stream I want to focus on it, and I do it, and she's like, I'm always on a live stream now because there's so many channels. And it's also a little bit disturbing, just because that one thing she did where she was doing the overly sexually eating, it was so disgusting. And I watched that video like 4 times that day because 4 different people covered it. And then when I saw anyone else covering, I was like, I'm not rewatching this again. I can't do that. I've already got enough mental issues. I don't need to make myself suicidal watching that, because that is just nasty. But so we get to the whole them being evicted. And during that whole process, I got so disgusted. It pretty much the whole time that from getting the notice to them leaving, Shanny was live streaming, and pretty much the whole time Rev was there beside her streaming. Like, when did they have the time to pack? And one of the streams, and I'm not going to pull anything up because, again, I'm too tired and too lazy to be doing that sort of thing right now, and I'm still getting used to StreamYard and figuring out how I'm going to do it. But she was telling the kids what to pack in, and sort of telling them to pack. It's sort of like they couldn't even pack. They made the kids pack. And that was just like, what the fuck? And going from that and off of the whole him threatening to kill, it was just like, I was already angered and pissed off. And I've heard some stories in the past from watching, because I'm a bit OCD. I'm not sure if I'm OCD or OCPD or whatever it's called. They're still figuring my brain out what's wrong and whatnot, even though it's been a few years. And when I do something, I don't half-ass it. I don't just go in, watch it, and then be done. And then I go all in. That's why I want my collection. If you watch my intro video, you'll see I have tons of Star Wars stuff. I don't just I have trouble just doing one or two things. I don't like to do something half-assed. If I'm doing something, I want to do it fully properly. So I was doing stuff, and I didn't really watch the proof, but I watched people who I knew were experts and explained the stories. And like I've gone back since then and watched some of them and seen how they've neglected the kids, and it was just so disgusting and heartbreaking. And I was just like, I was getting mad. And then the house reveal. Like, I knew they were messy. I knew they were disgusting. But seeing that fucking house was just... I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to react. It was just so... what the fuck? So I know people were already starting to report her channel for child abuse and whatnot. And I don't... And again, I want to clarify, I don't support false flagging and just flagging to be assholes. But what they were doing to those kids was abuse and neglect. And once I saw them starting to blame people for going in, despite already seeing the video where Rev was like, oh yeah, the garage is open, going through the garage, and then saying, you guys broke in and entered, that just pissed me off. I was like, nope, I can't do this. And I was like, I'm not the type, and I don't, and for anyone else watching, I know it's been said by all the bigger people, don't call the cops, don't call child family services or whatever, or protective services, depending on where you live. But it's like, I can do something. It's like, so I helped report the channel, which isn't false flagging or harassment. I literally took their examples that they put online themselves and showed it to YouTube. And that's not even the big thing. What I also then did was I went for their Teespring. And that's not harassment. That's not getting in their personal lives. Most companies, especially nowadays, want to know people who are representing them or who they're representing are doing. And they don't want to cover someone like that. So literally what I showed them was I messaged them up saying, I think you guys might want to be interested in people who use your site. And I sent a link to Dragnaut's channel of the home tour. And then I also showed a video from Alex where it was the examples of the whole threatening to kill her and the kids and himself if he didn't get help. So I was just like, you guys might want to look at this. And they were talking, and like, pretty much they said, yeah, that's not right. We will talk to certain people and we'll look into this. And by the end of the day, it was down. Am I proud of what I did? Yes. Because they need to... I know some people are saying it's not right to take away money. It's the money they need. It was the whole... They need to do the right thing, and it's for the kids. And the best way for the kids to get help is to not be with Rev and Shanny. And I don't know why they're still there. And again, if they're watching, if you want to talk to me, feel free to talk to me. I'm more than happy to cover a conversation with you guys. I don't regret what I did. Would I do it again? Yes. Do you want to sue me? Feel free to try. I've done nothing wrong. You guys put it out online. I just showed it to someone else, and they decided they didn't want to cover that or support that. Everyone has the right to not support who they don't want to support. I've also, and then with YouTube, they also, after she got banned, I will admit, I reported every new channel that she created as bypassing. Like, I know we can't call the Child Family Protective Services or call cops. I know that's not something that just minor people like me can do. But it's like, something has to be done, and I want to do what I can. And that was what I want to do. Is like what they're doing to the kids. People who abuse the most innocent and the most people who need the most and like the most vulnerable. Like pedophiles are like the lowest people in jail. Like they're the ones who get killed by other prisoners. They're the ones who get beaten up and left for dead. And above that is like sexual assault. And from there, it's just they need to get offline. They need us. And I told them, and I told YouTube, well, and I had, thankfully, there's people who record all their old stuff, so I had more evidence because they were like, well, we need proof of what they've done on their channels. Like, well, I can't show you their channel directly because, well, you took it down and you banned them. That's why I'm reporting this. So I went from there, and I just used like backup channels that I've created backup for their stuff for evidence and have recovered it, and I showed it. And it's just like, you guys, by keeping them on your channel, on your platform, you are paying them to abuse their kids. Because while they streamed, how many times have there been situations where the kids ask for help and then you see that look in Shanny's face of just anger? And in the car ride, it was just, the kids came last. They showed more love for the pets than they did for the kids. And that's one thing for Rev, because they're not his kids. He cares zero shits about them unless he can use them as a pity party. But their mother was more happy to have that cat in her lap near the end than to have her kids to make sure they were okay after Rev threatened them. And it was just so disgusting. It was just utterly disgusting. So yeah. I find it funny that Rev just noticed the Teespring was down when it was down before they reached their new place. And yeah, like when they get money, when they're distracted, they use the kids to get money. They don't use that money towards the kids. They use the money towards themselves for drugs and food. And while they're streaming, the kids are not a focus. They are a nuisance to them. Because you'd see before, like I've watched older, so I'm not a new person, but I've done enough research where I can talk some bit. And you would see her get mad, and they start like she'd be in a happy mood, chipper, blah blah blah, being her annoying self, and then the kids would come ask for food or something, and she would just, her face would change, and she would just be unpleasant at that point towards the kids. And then she learned to mute her mic finally. And it was just, you could see the anger in her. Like, even though you couldn't see what she was saying, some people have apparently been able to translate the mouth motions. But at the same time, it was just, you could see the anger in her face. And it was so disgusting, just towards her own kids. And I don't know who's honest or not. But like I haven't watched the whole videos, but I've seen the videos with her parents. And it's just, the only reason she wants kids is I think the same reason that, from what I know of Vaughn, is why he wants his kids. To use them for money, to get extra welfare stuff, extra things. Not for the kids, but for themselves. And I think the best thing for the kids would be for them to surrender their kids to anywhere. And then for just to move on and disappear from the net. Because it's not only just hurting the kids, they're hurting themselves. And it's their life and they're adults. If they want to hurt themselves, and it's the same thing with ALR. She's killing herself just to be famous. And it's just, if you want to do it, you can do it, but don't take other people down with you. My biggest worry is, how are the kids? Like, they're old enough, like, the damage could be done, that how are they going to turn out? Like, there's chances that if they were taken out of that house, that they could be sort of properly, wording is, they could probably be reprogrammed to be more normal and not like that. but they are so neglected that they don't think anything's wrong. That they don't, when they have to talk, like, they don't hurt me, they don't do anything, because they think it's the normal. And it's so disturbing that the kids, and then that last video, which really got me about the kids, was where Shanny demanded and yelled at the kid to get on camera and say that they're like, that's not normal. You verbally abusing your kid to cover your ass. You more care about how people look at you than the kid's feelings. And like, I seen the whole thing about her son being suicidal, and she was just streaming. I was just like, when I was in the hospital with depression, I had my wife with me. She wouldn't leave. Like, she'd be there first thing in the morning and come and stay till the end of the night till she couldn't stay, and they usually let her stay longer. And my parents would be there regularly. I actually had a few friends who actually visited me in the hospital. But it was just so disgusting. And I was just like, so I've been trying to do whatever I could do. And for me, that is reporting their abuse and their neglect to the people who they were making money from. And again, a lot of people would say, well, if you're taking away money, that's going to hurt the kids. No. If you take away their reason to abuse the kids, hopefully the abuse will stop. So, yeah, I had everything. There's so many signs. And there was that one guy in Burnt Toast stream, which I actually got onto because I just couldn't stand what he was saying, who was defending them and just saying not everything they do is abuse, and you're just nitpicking. Nitpicking can be nitpicking, and it doesn't help. But when there's, as I said as an example, and I don't know if this is the best example, you toss you have a handful of sand. It's nothing. It's just a handful of sand. It's a little mess. If you drop it on the ground, it's just a little mess. But then you have a full fucking desert or beach in front of you, and it's a magnificent look. It's something completely different. If it was just a small few instances of abuse and neglect, things wouldn't have gone the way they went. But with how much, even in the past, like, all the things in the past were enough to be issues, but they weren't enough to ever cause any issues. But just in the car ride, just from the eviction to now, there have been so many signs. Again, Jason doing that mukbang where he ate that really disgusting pizza really disgustingly and didn't share it with the kids. And when they were doing the chicken and watermelon, people had to tell them to feed the kids. And they never feed the kids on camera. Like, you never see them give them food or acknowledge them. G-Man actually gave them food, even though he did it very stupidly and kind of racistly. He still actually gave them food. And yeah, catch me if you can. You're exactly right. And that's what the disturbing part is. They don't know. This is normal to them. What Shanny and Rev do to those kids, and even just Shanny from before Rev, like just moving around and losing her kids and getting them back, and then how many bad people did she put them around? There's just so many examples of just abuse and neglect. And it was just, and I wasn't planning on talking this much, but it's just been so disgusting. And actually talking about it online is very sort of therapeutic. Just instead of just typing in chats like some of you guys are, like, there's so much you want to say and you just can't say it in a chat, especially with so many words. So it's nice to actually be able to say this and have actually people listen. And I thank you guys for joining me on my first live stream, no matter how boring and shitty it is. And my first intro video, which I made a new channel, didn't want to leave it bare. So thank you guys for keeping me company while I do this. It's a great appreciation. And yeah, Rev still threatens the kids and and that was it alone. The whole journey of the eviction in the house was, oh no, um, the people did it to this house. They did this to the house. We didn't do it. We didn't leave it. It was because we were rushed. There's a difference between leaving stuff around and not cleaning up completely. That house was disgusting. It almost looked like a drug den. And when I was younger, I hung out with not great people, so I know what actual druggy houses look like. And some are not bad, some are good, but some are just shitholes, and that's what that looked like. And just with the pee and the dirt on the walls and the smell and the damage, it was just so disgusting. And they try to blame Drag and the people who went into the house when they recorded everything. And then it was like, and Rev earlier said, go in the house, blah, 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 blah. Like the house, there's stuff worth the money. I think, I'm not sure if they're that smart, but I think their whole thought was, we make that video, get people to go and delete our video, and then blame them so that we don't have to pay any damage fees or whatever. But the problem was they had the video up, and people are on top of them. There's some people who like pretty much their whole life is, well, they didn't have hot water apparently. They didn't have the kids are still wearing like the same clothes that they were wearing when they were in the road trip. And yeah, it was just, then they started blaming everyone for the house. It's like, that was dried on vomit and shit near the litter box. That is not someone putting that there and placing there. You can't just make the house look that dirty. Like, that was not fresh litter. That was old, dry things. And then what was even better is during the live stream, Rev was even caught blaming the kids, saying, you ruined a bunch of people's lives. Like, he was blaming them. Like, they are kids. It is a parent and adult's job, whether you're a parent or not, if you live with kids, to make sure that they are safe and healthy and doing what's right for themselves. You don't let them piss in bed. You don't let them live in filth. And it was just, and then he blamed them. And then that night when they actually got to the new place, it was, I remember watching the live stream like that night. Shanny was sitting on the couch, and then Rev started pretty much telling the boys that they did, this is your fault, blah, 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 blah. And he started blaming them again. And at that point, you saw the look of fear in Shanny's face, and she jumped across the room so she could get away from overhearing Rev on camera. And it's just like, the kids are not at fault. They had no parent. They're pretty much living with no parents. They're living with pretty much giant kids who only care about themselves. Also, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free. If you tag me, I'll be able to see it quicker. Shanny doesn't care about the kids. They are literally just tools for her. And I hate both of them. I really do, and I really wish the worst for them. But then again, there is a point where I actually felt bad for Rev. And I just felt so disgusted watching it. But if you've ever seen the wet brain Rev, and it was just, what Shanny did to him was so fucking disgusting. And I know it's not, there's these people you don't like. Like, I really have a dislike for ALR because she's just a liar and does the same shit over and over again. And Foodie Beauty. Well, I have a slight hate for Foodie Beauty just because she's driving intoxicated, getting away with it. But when I saw that what Shanny was doing to Rev when he was in the wet brain, when he was pretty much not there. How she was dressing him up and like she was taking advantage of a special needs person at that point. And it was just, if the tables were turned and it was someone like Rev doing that to Shanny, there would have been so much call for having him arrested. Because that would be considered, yeah, watching the Revelina is just, I hate Rev. And I like to see bad things happen to him. But seeing that and just seeing that he was vulnerable was just, I almost got disgusted. Like, I almost vomited just from how disgusting it was. Because like, I've been in vulnerable positions and I've relied on a lot of people to help me around because I was just, like, I lock up, like, when I go to new doctors, especially psychiatrists or psychologists, I have trouble talking to them. And I usually have my wife talk for me because she knows what I'm thinking. I can sort of make motions and face, and she understands what I'm feeling or saying, and she can sort of do that until I feel comfortable with them. So I'm still heavily reliant on people. Like, I'm relying on you guys as sort of a therapy of me getting this out instead of just typing in someone's chat to be ignored. But I was just, he was dependent on her, and that was caught. And I'm not a doctor, and I don't, and like, I know bits of it. But from what I've been able to tell from people is she caused that by making him go cold turkey. Like, she caused it. Like, she was trying to, I think, and it makes sense that she, in a lot of the videos, and none of this, I can't say anything as fact for a lot of things because I'm not there. I didn't watch it even originally, and I'm not them. But I think Shanny has been trying to kill Rev or get Rev to kill himself. Like, first there was that whole wet brain thing. And it was just, from what I've been able to tell, what I've looked up a little bit, but again, I'm not a doctor, that going cold turkey with how much of an alcoholic he was is what caused it. And then she just, and then from there, before the whole eviction saga, I have BPD. There's a good chance I'm on the spectrum a bit. Like, I might have a bit of Asperger's. Like, again, people, they're still trying to figure out everything wrong because I just show signs of everything. I know there's, in psychology and psychiatry, there's a whole grouping of things that if you have one of these, there's a good chance you have one of those. So I know what it's like to be stressed and anxious and be in one of those moods. And like, when he's just telling her to leave him alone and snaps at her, he sometimes apologizes. Like, when he, like, there was a couple snaps, and a couple of them he did apologize. Some of them he just wanted to sort of fuck off and do his own thing, and he would say, "Leave me alone." And Shanny kept making it worse and worse and trying to make it about her. Like, even when he would apologize and start demeaning himself, going, "I fucked up, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah." It was just, anyone who knows anything psychology and anyone who deals with that sort of thing or has dealt with people who deal with that know that he was not in the right set of mind, and he was very vulnerable at that moment. And she, again, I can't state for fact, but it seemed like she was pushing him to kill himself. Like, she was egging him on. And it was almost like when he kept saying, "I'm going to kill myself," what bothers me is he was begging for help. Before the eviction, he was begging for help. And he wanted to go and see someone, and that's when he threatened. And that was just, I don't care how vulnerable you are, you don't do that. Like, I've been in very bad where everything pisses me off. And like, for a while, people asking me questions because I spent so much time in hospital, and every, like, 5 times a day, I'd have doctors waking me up from sleeping or whatnot. and wake me up and ask me the same questions. How are you feeling? What's your blood sugar? Are you suicidal? Have you ever been suicidal? Like the same questions. And anytime I went to a doctor's appointment or a new doctor, it was the same questions. And from there, I still have issues with answering too many questions. Like it's like one of those pestery kids ones, like, why is that? Why? And you give an answer, it's like, why? And you, why? And it's just, that really gets on my nerves nowadays. And my wife knows that, and she knows not to ask too many because I get frustrated. But she also knows that I would never turn my anger on her. I would turn the anger on myself before I turn it on anyone else. But she was pushing him, and she knew what he was like, and she was pushing him and like she refused to give help because there's no gas. They're not going to help you. And recently, she was telling him to get help. That he needed help, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, when he wanted help, when he actually was asking for help, you refused. And it was just so, it's been so disgusting. Like, and there's times I do feel bad for Rev, but then I realize it's Rev, and it's just like, I just want to punch him in the face. And that guilt, that feeling sorry for him is not even sorry. It's like a very, very low degrading version of pity. Sort of like when a rich guy looks down at a poor person and they're just like, just above them and all that. It's kind of like that. Like, I know I'm better than you, and I don't feel better than a lot of people, but most of us are better than them. I just want a quick note just to add. I'm going to put this in the chat. I'm helping a friend. If anyone's willing or able to donate, would be greatly appreciated. I'm still new to this, and I've never had donations. I've never really dealt with Streamlabs before. So if you do donate, please let me know so I can see it. I don't know. I'm still figuring things out. I need to figure out how to check things. But yeah, it's just been such a disturbing, like, and I was so much happier. I was so much happier when I didn't know of these things, when I didn't know of Shanny and Rev. Like, it is such a drain, and it's like, why am I, like, so many of us, like, they're putting ourselves through it. It's just like, I already have to deal with my own shit. Why am I watching this? And, like, it's just so disgusting. And it's just, and when G-Man just sort of supports him, and he talks to apparently CPS and says, oh, they're not abusing their kids. Oh, and there's no chance, and if you ever do want to, like, again, there's no obligation. The link is in my YouTube, and it's also on my Twitter. If you have Twitter, feel free to follow me, and I'll probably follow you back. But no obligation ever. Like, it's my choice to take care of my friend and whatnot, and I help where I can with my wife just because she does most of the bills. I know I'm a bit of I spend money. Retail therapy helps me a bit, unfortunately. And what I collect are not cheap. I go for figures and Lego. And G-Man is a whole other topic. I barely know. I don't really look into his stuff. I've been watching more of his stuff on Miss Parker's channel because there's nothing else to watch. At sometimes, and it's not that she's only there. I only watch her when there's nothing else to watch. It's more just it's just something to watch. Like, I used to avoid some people. It was like, well, yeah, and I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I have meds. I don't smoke. I actually am on CBD oil, but the thing is, I've got a license for it in Canada or whatever it's called. And I smoked weed when I was younger, and you know what? I hate it. I get heart palpitations like even from drinking or anything, and I hate that feeling of my chest just not feeling right and heart palpitations, sort of like when you've got adrenaline, and because I've got bad breathing, so it sort of, when your heart's going a little bit fast, it sort of offsets my lungs, and it's just like, it's this bad feeling. So it's like, if it can help me, but I really don't want those heart palpitations. So I've got CBD oil, which I get no high from. It literally just, and I don't even get any feeling from it. It just kind of, it doesn't even do too much. It's more just of my anxiety. I don't have my normal level. Like, I'm anxious about everything. I hate traveling. I worry about everything. Everything is a worry for me. Even the stupid thing. Even if I'm buying like a Lego set from someone off Kijiji, like, is this someone who hates me, who's going to hurt me when I meet up with them? Are they going to screw me over? Is this set going to be fake? I worry about everything. I'm always a worst case scenario, and I do my best to not do that way, but it's just natural to me. But the CBD oil, I think it's yellow oil or something. Let me see, it's right. THC yellow cannabis oil. There's no high to it, and because I don't want that. Like, I don't want, like, edibles. Apparently, they can do the same thing. So I went with something. I'm trying it, and I don't do too high. I don't think CBD or THC are the cure-all that they're meant to be, but they help with some things, and they've helped with me a bit. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling. So if you guys have anything you want me to talk about specifically, please feel free to let me know. What else is there? I don't know about the cancer thing. Like, there's stories that say they do, and it's just like, I think they need to do more research into that. And from what I understand, that Delta 8 or whatever, isn't that just the stuff that was killing people before? Like, that's the artificial chemically created marijuana. Like, that's the artificial stuff that was killing people and is very dangerous. I could be getting that wrong with something else, but I remember that there was an artificial pot, and it was killing people. I don't know if that's it, or if it was something else, or if they've changed it. But yeah, G-Man defending them and how he talks, and I've seen more stuff about him. I haven't really delved into him too much because it's just oy vey. And yeah, I just haven't I don't want to deal too much with him or getting onto him just because there's no real point. But seeing his topics, seeing how he debates, he yells at people and then is like, I'm not going to answer if you're going to be rude to me, but then he's completely rude and cuts people off and he just insults them. And his whole, if he doesn't agree with you, you're one of those, you're from that community, you're from those people. And it's just, I don't understand people who can actually debate him. Diving into Shanny and Rev, it breaks my mind and breaks my heart for the kids. And my biggest worry about them, is it too late to save the kids from being horrible people? Because it's the whole environment and, oh yeah, like, I worry about if it's too late, if they're going to be horrible kids. And I know kids can be horrible by nature. I've got some nephews and nieces, and they can be cute, and they can be where you want to punt them across the road. Never would do it. I'd never hurt kids. But you always have that thought, like with some annoying kids. Like, I never liked kids when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I hated teenagers. I grew up, people knew me as Headphone for a few years because I always had headphones because I didn't want to listen to any of their shit. And yeah, like, I hated teenagers then, and they've just gotten even worse. But yeah, G-Man, I don't really want to dive into. Vaughn is another one, like, as the Geek Room puts it, the Tard Yard and stuff. There was that Cyrax or something. I saw someone was doing a video on Cyrax, and I took, like, it was his rap song, and I was just like, and then I saw the whole him using a pen to threaten. What was it? Yeah, he was using a pen as a knife to threaten suicide, and he was using it to guilt people. And it was like a pen, and it's just like, nope, I'm not watching this. One, I've dealt with suicide myself, attempted twice, and just fight the thoughts. So people who are using it as a weapon. So it's just like, I'm not even giving this guy any attention. Then there's that really weird looking guy, and I just like, no. I think he was just covered recently on the Geek Room. Let me just quickly look through my videos. Looking through my... Where the hell's the Geek Room? But yeah, Von Helton, I don't know enough of his back, and I'm not going to deep dive on him. But I find him kind of amusing because he actually reminds me a bit of my friend who I'm helping. Like, he's just an angry old guy who sort of isolated himself. So I've kind of just... He kind of reminds me of him, so I sort of can put up with it a bit because it's more like who I've dealt with. But I don't put much time into Vaughn. Oh, I know. When it comes to the kids part, I don't know about that. I'm happy the kids are gone, so I haven't watched any of that, and like I don't plan on going back. Although when I heard about the whole thing about his wife burning his daughter and him rubbing a potato on her thigh or something, that got me a little bit more. I don't need the extra. Okay, let me see if I found the video. King Cobra JFC. I'm sorry, but his face just... yeesh. Like, I don't know who most of the Tard Yard, but there's just a couple, like Cyrax or whatever his name is, and that King Cobra JS is just like, I don't want anything to do with them. It was just, they're just kind of, yeah, I don't want to, like, I get enough anxiety from watching stuff, and like just dealing with Rev and Shanny. It's like I've been pulled in, so it's like I'm stuck with this for now, and it's just, I don't watch your stuff. Like, I refuse to watch. Like, I don't think I could ever, if I start doing videos more often, I don't think you will see much of me just sitting here and watching it with you guys and talking about it while going over and pausing every so often, because I just can't deal with that. I just don't have the patience to be watching them by myself. Like, the people who do that regularly and just sit there and watch and cover, it's just like, how? I only can watch with commentary. Like, there's one thing for watching for a couple minutes and then commentary and then a couple minutes. But when you're just watching it by yourself just to make a video about it, it's just like, no, I don't hate myself that much. I've never tried scent therapy. Yeah, I now watch the Geek Room. I just started the Geek Room like a couple days ago. Drag, Miss Parker, Burnt Toast, and Jules. I just watched them, and in all honesty, I fell in love with them so much just for their voices. Their voices are very soothing. But yeah, I watched the first one who I watched who got me into this was Irate Alex. But yeah, I can only watch it through a filter. Like I can't. I actually got. I was subscribed to Shanny for on Instagram just to watch it. And it's just like I can't remember where it was. I commented on something and I got blocked. And yeah, I was just for therapy for my extreme anxiety, catch me if you can. What I used to do, what I used to have was lorazepam. Lorazepam was a big help for big anxiety attacks. But my doctor only gives me like 10 pills at a time. I used to take them for sleep, but she wasn't a fan of that. I have trouble since my allergies. Like people use those melties and those the oils where you just in the candle, and my breathing is just. I have so much trouble with certain scents and strong scents. Surprisingly, the ones that are the best or the easiest for me to handle are incense, which you think would be smoke. You think that would not be a good thing, but surprisingly, incense are the only real strong scents. And the only reason I had to deal with incense was because I live in the country and we had some skunks who lived under the house and sprayed, and you could smell throughout the house, and it was the only thing that I could stand that covered up the smell. Meditation, not I don't. My mind works a mile a minute. Like I'm also ADD, so just to sit there and be calm. Not happening. And yeah, one of my psychiatrists who actually did a lot of good, but my insurance was like they're not doing enough quick enough, so they were like they quit it and it's too expensive for me. But he kept saying when you're having anxiety attack, do these breathing things. It's like no, because once I start controlling my breathing or trying to control it, like it's sort of like when people tell you don't pay attention to your breathing and then that's all you can focus on, or don't be itchy and then you're itchy all over. The problem is once I do that with my breathing, it's just I start having asthma attacks. And like one thing I absolutely refused to do was he wanted to put me into anxiety attack just to sort of see how I react and sort of help me come down for that. And his way of doing that was for me to breathe through a straw. So my breathing and when I was like, nope, I have so much problems with my lungs. I'm not going to push them more than they need to be pushed. Hyperventilating, just no. In all honesty, the best thing when I'm anxious and having some panic is usually lorazepam. And honestly, I'll sometimes go and find any random set of Lego and building Lego helps for me. Putting my mind on something else, something that like focusing and go out, because I don't like using the booklet, so I put on my monitor, so I'm looking up and down trying to build, and it's just something I can focus and put my energy into. And usually by done, my anxiety attack is gone. But then I'm just after anxiety attacks, like I'm done for the day. No matter, like I have one in the morning, my whole day will be ruined because I'll just be so goddamn tired. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys really want me to talk about? Because I'm just kind of rambling right now. For anyone who's interested in the whole Teespring, it's at the beginning. I was kind of rambling, talking about them, and just pointing out things about Shanny and Rev. Or anyone who watches this later, if you've gotten to this point, I don't know what's wrong with you. I have trouble listening to myself. I'm also hoping to go get a new set of Bluetooth headphones with a microphone. And what's nice is they don't cover the ear, so they don't press down in the ear and they don't go in the ear. They go right in front of the ear, so there's less pressure on the ears. And you can also hear things around. You can also hear. It's not. It's definitely not noise cancellation. It helps you so you can hear things. And like when I'm in this, I don't drive. My anxiety is so bad, and especially since I've been sick, I have trouble sitting up properly in the car. I always have to lean back with the pillow. But so when I'm in the city, I live in the country with my wife. So when I go in the city to like house sit my parents, so I can go and do stuff, I bus around. And when you have headphones on, it's hard to hear the bus stops because I get anxious about missing my stop. Like it's something like everything makes me anxious. So I'll be able to listen to my music and also hear the bus stops announced. Yeah, I'm in Canada. Have been my whole life. If there's anything you guys want to know about me without getting into too much personal information, I'm not giving out my SIN number. I also have a dry throat. What time is it even? 11:41. I've been on for almost an hour. I will say you might get me disturbed for a moment just because I have 6 cats. I have 6 cats, and there are some. In all honesty, pets have been the best thing for anxiety and stress. And what sucks is currently I have 6 dogs or 6 cats, 1 dog. I used to have 2 dogs. I got it shortly after me and my wife started dating. We got it together. And I wasn't a dog person. I was raised around cats, and I love cats. And I didn't want a dog until I met this little girl lab. I had to hold her while my wife paid. And I fell in love with it. And she was the best nurse I've ever had. Like, when I was upset, when friends came over and they were upset, she would just go to them and lay with them. And when I was nauseous, just her laying in bed with me and I'd pet her would calm my stomach down. Like, she was there. And my other dog's not so cuddly. She's very loving, but she's getting older. And we're planning on getting possibly another dog or two, but we're not going to do it till after my oldest dog passes away, just because we don't want to do that to her, because she's very good with cats. She was a rescue dog, actually, from my wife's uncle who was abusing her. And what ended up happening was she was going to be put down because he didn't want to bother rehoming her when they had to move. So he was asking to borrow a gun and put the dog down. So we were like, no, we'll get her and we'll rehome her or whatnot. And we just fell in love with her and kept her as well. And then the reason we had 6 cats, we had 3, we rescued 1, and she turned out to be pregnant, and we ended up keeping 2 of her 5 babies. And those 2 babies, those 2 boys are some of the most entertaining and most weird boys you'll ever meet. And they've been, if it weren't for them specifically, especially the one boy, my little boy Colson, he's just the sweetest little thing, and he just wants to be near people, and he's just the most well-natured. He's almost like a small version of my yellow lab who passed away. And that was hard, and he was the only reason I sort of survived that, because that broke my heart, because it was the first dog I've ever owned. She was almost 11. And she just went downhill really quickly, and it was just really hard. And he's kind of like a little version of her, and it's what helps. But yeah, pets have been the best. If you guys like this and I get enough people who might be interested, I might start doing more streams or just talk about shit that's happened with Rev and Shanny over like a week, or what's going on, or my thoughts on like ALR or Foodie Beauty. I don't watch them. Foodie Beauty, I watch as little as possible. I pretty much watch her. The only reason I really see any of her videos is through Sinatra Says. He does ALR videos, and that's one of the reason I get stuff on her is because not many people cover them, especially with the Shanny shit. The other two, like they are so fucking boring compared to Chantel or Chantel and ALR are just so fucking boring compared to Shanny lately, especially if you're going to get one deep dive into. The other two are just so boring and useless and lazy. But so Sinatra Says, and he does her the odd time, and I get her through a lot of people who I follow on Twitter. For anyone who I'm sort of still new to Twitter, like I never used it before, but it's been a good place for me to just be vent and shitty. I want people who like to push buttons, and I'll say this to you guys. I may cross lines, I may say things that are not politically correct or not nice. I'm not racist. I don't hate people because of race. I hate them because they're morons. I hate double standards. I hate hypocrisy. One of my biggest pet peeves is hypocrisy. I hate, and with what's going on in politics, like, and I'm not getting to that right now. And I'm Jewish and I'm pro-Israel, and what's going on with all those, there's so much hypocrisy, and sometimes I just need to disappear from the internet for a day or two just because it's getting to me. And my mental health comes first. But Twitter allows me to be a little bit more shitty, to say. I just posted my Twitter in the link. It's pretty much the same name. So it's right there at the bottom. I don't know what else to say. Does anyone have anything that they want me to talk about or any questions before I close up for the night? Because it's getting close to midnight. I'm probably going to be up to like 3, 4 in the morning. I have problems sleeping ever since I was first admitted to the hospital when I first had my breakdown. I haven't been able to sleep at nights properly. And meds don't work properly on me. I adjust to meds really quickly. Like something apparently with redheads, and I'm not redheaded. I have red hair. Like I used to have patches of red hair, and I've got the joys of I get too used to meds, or I adjust to meds too quickly. So like I have to take my meds. So I usually have one night where I go to bed with my wife around 9, 10 o'clock, and then the next night I stay up till much later. Would I do this again? Yeah, I'll do this again. I don't think I will be a big person. I don't think I'll ever get really big. I think this might just be a small thing, but yes, I will do this again. It's been nice. It's a little bit of therapy. Like, and I know this isn't therapy. Yeah, like I'm not any of those YouTubers who just call this therapy as like, well, that counts. But it's been nice to be able to talk and people to listen. And I can do different topics. Well, thank you, Boxer Wing. I rant. Like, this is my second channel. I had a first channel, and mostly what I did on there was unboxings and toy reviews. Like, a lot of Tukatsu stuff, which is mostly Power Rangers and Kamen Rider, if you know what those are, depending on your age. Like, I grew up with Power Rangers, and first it was the Masked Rider, and then as I got older, I went for the Japanese stuff, which was a lot better. But then at one convention, Jason David Frank pissed me off. He seemed so cool. He was my favorite, and he's just a major fucking asshole. And if people want, I'll get into that later. People comment on if people want stuff. Feel free to comment on this later, or go to my Twitter and message me. I'll follow back. I don't know if my Twitter messages are open, but if you follow me, I'll follow you back, and then yeah, you can feel free to message me or comment on my video, either this one or in the discussion tab, and tell me what you want videos on. And I can't promise I'll do everything, because if you say something that's not something I know about or comfortable with, I won't. But make suggestions. The worst thing that will happen is I won't do it. Like, I can be snippy if I'm in a bad mood. I can be really snippy and short. So I pre-apologize. Like, well, she's asleep. She went to bed a couple hours ago. These are the nights I stay up late. I just do my own thing, just watch what I watch, play. I'm not even a big gamer. Like, I'm probably not even going to do any game streams, but I do been playing Star Wars, what's it called? Star Wars Battlefront 2. Most of the games I play are actually Lego, because they're easy and they're not easy, but they're comfortable and they're funny, and they're kiddie and for adults, and there's references to things in the series. So I do those. And I've been doing Star Wars games lately. And due to the joys of my what's it called? I can't remember. Like, see, this is what happens. I can't remember words and simple things because of my borderline. Like, my interests snap. Like, before Star Wars, I was big into Marvel, and I had a lot of Marvel stuff. But then I was like, I tiptoe into Star Wars, and I sold my Star Wars stuff, or my Marvel stuff, figures, Hot Toys is also my main collection. But I sold all my Marvel to fund my Star Wars. And yeah, same Boxer Wing. Like, that's one reason I watch. Like, I have trouble falling asleep without listening to something. Like, I have comfort shows and stuff, like Family Guy. I don't watch Simpsons anymore. It's annoying. Archer, Daria. I watch old shows that I've watched before and that aren't too serious. Too serious, have me trouble sleeping, and they make me anxious. Like, there's some shows I can't watch because they have some triggers, and that's my choice, and that's my issues. So I don't blame anyone for my triggers. But something that I've watched enough that I can listen to and not listen to, and yet still know what's going on. So, like, I rotate. Like, I'll fall asleep, and then my wife will turn the stuff off, or my phone will turn off on its own. Right now, I'm back to South Park watching stuff, and it's just comfort stuff. I have trouble not listening to stuff. And, like, too much action in series, like, it gets my attention. Like, I might try falling asleep to a Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon. I don't know how that will work, but, like, I love Star Wars, and I love watching the movies, and I can watch them multiple times, but I don't know if the movies would be something I'd be able to fall asleep to. Comedy is probably the best thing for me to fall asleep to. I love watching Crowder, so I can fall asleep. The problem with some live streamers is their audio is not always, and listen to podcasts in general, is like donation sounds, and it just gets loud, and it's just like, it's hard to do a level setting, and I do what I can to watch, but we're back down to 4 people, so I think, unless anyone has any other comments, please feel free to ask. I'm going to put these both up quickly for a moment before I close up. I put up my Streamlabs and my that did not do that well. Let me do that again. That was the Twitter and Streamlabs. Let's see if that worked. Oh, that worked. Okay, so the best way to, because I don't know how often I'm going to make videos, because the problem is I don't have my own office. I've built a cubicle office for myself with display cases and a desk and bookshelves on one side. So maybe what I'll do is maybe my next video I'll pre-record one and do a sort of tour of my collection and just stuff I have to show, because from when I do have the camera on, you see there's only just short little things, and from where my desk area is, you can only see short little things. But so I might do a tour of my stuff if people are interested enough in it. Again, I'm not going to watch this back just for comments, so feel free to come back and comment after, or follow me on the Twitter. And I'm sounding old saying that. Follow me on the Twitter. Follow me on Twitter and suggest and message me or tag me and stuff that you want to see, or if you have any questions there. I'm always up for talking. I do get in moods where I'm not very talkative, and my simple response will be yep, nope, very similar or very small and brief answers. But well, I guess that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. Again, Twitter, and no obligation, and don't ever feel bad for not being able to, because I can't tip people. I'd love to be able to tip people who I watch like $1,000 at, but I just can't. And it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault. But if you're ever wanting to and able to at any time, please feel free. It's in my Twitter description. It's in my YouTube. And thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you for enjoying my rambles, because I do that a lot, where I can bounce from topic to topic and just not finish topics. And if I ever start something and don't finish it, please feel free to tag me in a comment so I can see it and notice that, to finish off a story or finish off a thought. But I guess that will be the end of it today. Thank you guys so much for my first live stream and enjoying me, which not many people do. I can be very annoying and whatnot. So once again, thank you, and hope to see you guys again.